Thank you everyone for taking a precious time to attend Renesas Electronics Analyst Day. We thank you very much indeed. First, let me introduce today's speakers to you. Speakers, you are requested to put your video on. Today's session is attended by our Representative Director, President and CEO, Hidetoshi Shibata, Senior Vice President and CFO, Shuhei Shinkai, Executive Vice President and General Manager of IoT Infrastructure Business Unit, Sailesh Chittipeddi, Senior Vice President, General Manager of Automotive Solution Business Unit, Takeshi Kataoka, Senior Vice President and Deputy General Manager of Automotive Business Unit, Vivek Ban, and also some staff from the IR department. This is today's agenda, as you can see here. We would like to finish the entire session in about 2 hours and 5 minutes, at around 5 minutes past 11 Japan Standard Time. The materials to be used for today's presentation are posted on the company's IR site. Also, the recorded video of today's session will be posted on the same site. Now, without further ado, I would like to ask Mr. Shibata to put your microphone on and begin the presentation. Once again, good morning to you. This is Shibata. First of all, well, in fact, we have more than 200 people in Ukraine and also some collaboration partners in Ukraine. And as we speak today, all these people, by and large, are staying in Ukraine and working. We hope that the peace will resume to Ukraine and to the entire world as quickly as possible. As was mentioned at the outset today, Vivek Ban, who joined from Dialogue, he's going to speak for the first time, so this is his debut. Although today is a very concise meeting, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask questions and give questions to Vivek. And also, number 3, the third topic that I wanted to say at the outset, after taking office in 2016, we have made a major strategic shift. And prior to COVID-19 in 2020, we also revamped our strategy once again. At the current moment, we are focusing on the execution of the updated strategy, and I have been adamant in delivering results. I have been communicating this to you all the time, but as a result, the results are not only financial results, such as the revenues and profit. We also have to talk about the progress of the execution of the strategy that we have set as an initiative for the company. So we would like to explain this firmly to you today. So throughout today's session, we would like to talk about the progress of the execution of our strategies. And at the same time, we hope that this will provide you with a good opportunity for you to deepen your understanding on the company. So with that, I would like to start my part. All right, so quickly, I would like to recap on 2021. Of course, there were many things happening, so I think it's almost that we are about to forget about this, but COVID is still there. We are still seeing the continuation of COVID-19. Supply chain challenges were very much the focus throughout the year of 2021. At the same time, with abundant liquidity, massive liquidity, some capital markets and some product markets, we are seeing a significant increase in demand in some cases. And another major event for last year was that the climate change target was stepped up. So more than ever before, sustainability-related initiatives are now accelerating since last year. And we at Renesas, as you can see at the top part here, in February of last year, we announced the acquisition of Dialog, and at the same time, a relatively large earthquake struck Japan, also in the fire in March. We caused a lot of inconvenience to so many people, and thereafter, we received incredible support from so many people, and as a result, we were able to recover and resume at an early date. So I would like to take this opportunity to once again express my appreciation to all the efforts undertaken. And as a result, as you can see from the bottom 4 circles there, Dialogues were consolidated for the 4 months period. So on a year-on-year, we achieved a 39% sales growth. On a pro forma basis, compared to 2020, assuming that Dialog was there from 2020, we still achieved a 27% growth in sales, which was quite significant. And we achieved EBITDA slightly to the south of 400 billion yen, and design-in amounted to 1.5 trillion yen. I think the winning combo we have been heavily promoting. We have received more than 300. We have provided more than 300 solutions in the course of last year. And just a bit more about NAKA factory fire. As you can see on the left-hand side, on March 19th, unfortunately, we caused a huge fire at the NAKA plant, and as a consequence, April shipment came down to nearly zero. However, as I mentioned earlier, with the incredible support that we have received from many people around the society, although we have set a very aggressive target of resuming in about 100 days, completing 100% shipment by then, although we were slightly short of that target, but by July, we were slightly below 100%, but still be able to recover the shipment to that level. And from August and thereafter, we were able to utilize our full, almost near full capacity and continue shipment at that level from there. On the right-hand side, you see the tools which were required to be replaced. So the same list is posted here, which we presented back then. And we also have secured some second-hand equipment, and also we built equipment using components from 2 units and then combining it into a single unit. So with all these creative efforts, all the equipment that were anticipated to be replaced last year was replaced or repaired and be able to use for production. And then after that, based on the learnings that we have learned this time, we ensure that we have to improve our resilience and took necessary actions. As you can see on the left-hand side, this is a familiar picture to you because we have shown them several times. Automatic fire extinguishers, sensitive smoke detectors, those were installed from the second half of last year. And then currently, the installation is making favorable progress. So I think by the end of this year, we will have completed all the installation of the necessary equipment and facilities. Now, what is more important for us is the human-related efforts, I believe. Sharing the learnings and visualizing the learnings, those have to be incorporated in our day-to-day activities. And of course, in that regard, we are trying to implement a mechanism that so that our factories will compete with each other. Of course, if it goes too much, it's not going to be so good. But I think a healthy competition will be quite effective to improve our resilience on a continual basis. So that is the intention, and so far the progress has been favorable. So we have established a dedicated team of slightly less than 10 members, and for the head of this task force, we have recruited a talent from outside. So we are quite serious in undertaking these kind of initiatives going forward. Of course, all the necessary preparations were finished last year, and currently we are in the full-scale implementation phase. So throughout this year, we will run the first cycle, and then we would like to lead it to improvement in the second year from next year onwards. Now, our purpose of the company. Of course, we have shown you from time to time from before, but maybe you may have this may have resonated to you to some extent, or some of you may have already forgotten this already. But we would like to make our lives easier by complementing human capabilities. That is our mission or purpose. And what this means, actually today, I would like to talk about this by revealing the different relations. So it's not only limited to only 4 here, but as a representative initiative, we have listed up all these 4 initiatives that you see here. One is the winning combo that we have been talking about for many times, the solutions for customers, verifications, for example, or the design per se. The time required for that can be reduced significantly, and that will lead to differentiations, and the customers will be able to focus on their time and resources to whatever that will differentiate themselves from the competition. Secondly, scalability focused lineup. So with this, we would like to reduce the efforts and time required for software development on the part of customers, and thereby improve the reproducibility of the software. And UX, user experience, which has been pointed out as a weak point so far. We have introduced some cases to you, but in any event, whatever the device is, if it's not really good in terms of usability, people will give up using it. So this is about the many different mechanisms or initiatives to make our devices more accessible and easy to use. And lastly, this is related, or the other side of the coin of UX, but in order for the people to utilize our devices, the tool sets, such as development tool sets, or as well as drivers, also apply to this, and also a higher level software tool. How to enrich these offerings are our focus today. So we will not limit our activities only to offering devices. When customers utilize our devices, the necessary tools and environment will have to be improved so that we can lead it to reduce the time to market and reduce development time for customers. Later in my presentation, I'll talk about this in more detail, and some more detailed explanation will be provided during the AABU and IIBU presentations later. And now about the culture. Again, in 2020, from around 2020, I have been quite passionate in undertaking these initiatives. But to be very honest with you, from 2020 until the first half of last year, only a little limited number of people were talking about this and shouting about this, that we are going to do this. However, from around the second half of last year, we changed into and stepped into the next phase, a higher phase. At a more systematic level, we wanted to penetrate all these initiatives throughout the organization. Gradually, we are reinforcing and stepping up these efforts, and I think this will take multiple years. So it's not that we have ended all these initiatives at the end of last year. So we would like to digest into competency that are more easy to understand for the employees, and the human resource performance review has to be incorporated at the systematic level. And through roundtables, all these things that people thought that they have understood or taken as actions, we wanted to notify them and provide a hint that that was not really the case, and remind them to do better. And also for those people who are joining us, we would like to define the cultures and ask them to see if that to see whether they will buy into our culture or if they are embodying those cultures themselves. So we would like to embed all these things so that the human talents that are fit to our culture and talents who will promote those culture inside the organization will be the target of our recruiting activities going forward. And also for the training to our employees, we would like to do this more systematically, including some interesting tips. So we would like to work firmly on the training improvement as well as part of these initiatives. Now, as I said at the outset again, since last year, we have seen accelerated ESG environment-related activities. So I'd like to use the 2 pages to talk about our initiatives. First, about the environment-related initiatives. As you can see on the left-hand side, greenhouse gas reduction target. Last year, we raised the bar for climate change. In light of this market trend, we have also raised our bar, internal bar as well. This was changed last year, so the baseline was changed from 2020 to 2021. So compared against 2021, by 2030, we have set a target to reduce the greenhouse gas emission by 38%. This is a new target. And on the right-hand side, water-related efforts. Actually, to be honest with you, we have been a laggard here more than any other initiatives. So in Japan, because Japan is blessed with water resources, so that's the reason why we were a laggard. But as a global player, we thought that we have to be more aware of the water targets and set a higher bar. So we have set a new target here as well. So the consumption per revenue, the unit revenue in 2030 compared to 2021 will be reduced by 33%. That is the target that we have set. As for water intensity and also for water recycling rate, although this is not a significant change, but compared against 33% recycling rate, we have raised this to 35% for 2030. So in conjunction with all these initiatives, in the latter part of last year, green bond, $500 million. We were able to secure this in the second half of last year. So our ESG environment-related initiatives, I think to some extent were evaluated, and this proves that our efforts were evaluated to some extent. And the 2 more things related to ESG, social and governance pieces. On the left-hand side, you see the 4 boxes. DEI, supplier management, shareholder engagement, all these things are the focus areas of the company. And we have just highlighted the major initiatives here. And that is reflected in the ratings at the bottom there. We are focusing on many different initiatives, so I would like to just show you some of the examples. First of all, at the BOD, the board of directors, the female directors ratio target was set 20%. And in the middle part, especially last year, because there was a significant focus last year, especially for supplier management, so the supplier audit on the field was started from last year. 12 companies so far have been audited, and in the 2 years, this year and next year, we plan to cover altogether 70 different major suppliers of ours with the actual field audit. And the bottom left circle there, at the end of this month, we are planning to hold the annual general meeting of shareholders, and we are going to have a full online AGM. We have changed the articles of associations to that effect. We will do so. We plan to change the articles of incorporation to that effect. And of course, we do understand that there are many discussions here, but if you consider the actual operations of the company, many of our shareholders are actually foreign shareholders, and physically, most of them are not really able to participate if we have only face-to-face options. So therefore, the online AGM, in light of the shareholder structure, I think that is a better option for us to listen to broader voices of shareholders and also to deliver a message to the shareholders. So online AGM, I think, is a must that we have to deliver. But whether to hold this online, completely online, or on a hybrid format, combining physical and also online, that was the discussion point, I believe. But in reality, hybrid meetings, if you have ever attended, I think hybrid does not do so many good, I think, in reality, because the face of the people are too small to see. You see a lot of audio howling, disrupting the discussion. So hybrid, of course, there might be some benefits, but there are also a huge number of disadvantages in that kind of format. So hybrid is possible, but a smoother operation can be enabled by online. And especially when in order for us to deepen our interaction with shareholders who are not able to visit Japan, we would like to enable a full online format for the AGM. And we don't want to sacrifice the voices of our shareholders at all with this format. So if you look at the bottom middle part there, we are eager to hold discussions with shareholders on various occasions. So in addition to the AGM, of course, due to COVID-19, there are some restrictions today, but we would like to prepare many different opportunities to have discussions with shareholders. We will conduct many trials this year. And for the agenda items that received a lot of objections, we would like to take firm actions to investigate what are the reasons for the objections, what are the opinions of the company to those suggestions, and what initiatives led to the concerns that led to the objectives, and then what can we do in order to minimize those concerns. We would like to disclose those informations. Through those efforts, we would like to provide an opportunity, make sure that the opportunities for the shareholders to raise their voices will never be sacrificed. In that way, we would like to hold this full online AGM. So maybe today, I think today's participants are mainly analysts, but I think we would like to seek the understanding of many different people. So by fulfilling and enriching these initiatives, as you can see at the bottom, the ratings, we will aim to improve the ratings as you see at the bottom, and we would like to hope that we are incorporated in many different indexes. Of course, we are doing this in itself because this has a meaning in itself, but as a byproduct, by being introduced in the indexes as much as possible, those capital that are only available through indexes can be incorporated by the company. And because there are so many questions regarding valuation gap, but I think by broadening the basis of our shareholders through these initiatives, we would like to close the valuation gap as much as possible.
I'm conscious of time, so I would like to pick up my pace. Now, I would like to discuss some numbers. Design in 2020, we had a strong year as we presented last year. In 2021, from 2020 level, as regards automotive business, excluding the anomaly from 2020, we have set a target for growth for IIBU. We also set a target for strong growth in 2021, and both businesses achieved above target levels at high single digit. Results were strong, and target itself, if it is overachieved or underachieved by double digit, target is not meaningful. However, it was achieved overachievement of target by high single digit, which means that we also had a good target of which we were able to overachieve. As for automotive, higher teens and IIoT, a higher range of 20% are included in the target. These are not apple to apple. IIoT includes the effect of acquiring Dialogue. That has a huge contribution, and raw materials are rising in cost on the part of our customers. We are asking our customers to share the burden of the cost, and the mechanism is different. IIoT is revising prices, whereas for automotive business, right now, we are taking approach other than price revisions to ask the customers to also bear the cost burden. And that is not reflected in these charts. And therefore, on an apple-to-apple basis, automotive should be adjusted slightly upwards. The bars should look longer for automotive on an apple-to-apple basis. There is not a great divergence in terms of performance between automotive and IIoT. That is what I would like to point out. And we are expecting significant progress in design-in from last year, and we'll aim to achieve these targets. Through examples of winning combo, I would like to illustrate how we are making our customers' lives easier with the dialogue joining our group. And we had a Bluetooth BLE capability to some extent, and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capability from dialogue have been incorporated. And at the end of last year, with the acquisition of Celeno, we were able to further enhance our Wi-Fi portfolio with regards to connectivity. As a result, from endpoint to access point, in an end-to-end fashion, we are now able to provide connectivity. And this is a very easy to use, very enhanced winning combo portfolio. On the right side, an example is shown, and this shows only a dialogue device, but we have a same series, which also incorporates Celeno devices. These are under preparation. This is an example of smart door key. If this is assembled into an existing door, smart key can be enabled. Based on our devices, we are able to provide such functionality. With this, many customers, especially smaller size customers or customers who are new to these areas, will be able to reduce their time to market significantly. And so these, we believe, will make our customers' lives easier. In the area of IoT, this is a second example I would like to share with you. First, UX or training videos are made available. More than 110 videos are made available on our website. Recently, I think many people enjoy watching YouTube, and with videos, it is easier to understand the subject. We would like to increase a number of videos that shows the way of using our devices. We will continue efforts in this area. What is shown in the middle is a sample program. Oftentimes, we received complaints from our customers that it was not easy to simply obtain samples. With our website and other mechanisms, free samples are offered, or small purchase of samples are made much easier. For your information, in case of microcontrollers, RL78 included in the portfolio, sample availability was improved, including analog for overall products. More than 10 million devices are readily available as samples, and they are stored for immediate delivery. Together with the video training, it will be easier for customers to test our devices using one sample or a couple of samples. And a mobile microcontroller guide app, which I mentioned on previous occasion, is being developed further. And from device vision level, it is now possible to select a board. We are enhancing the functions and features of this app. I would like to use two slides to discuss automotive business as auto winning combo. From 2019, 2020, to be honest, we started from where we were able to. That was how we started, but right now we are more strategic in our approach in this area. In terms of the fields of applications, what is shown on the left are applications EV, including e-axle and ADAS and EE architecture. These are three major applications. We are focused on these applications for our solutions. As shown on the right side, each small ECU unit reference was how our efforts are started, but some are at a level of proof of concept or demonstration. And as a larger group at ECU level, turnkey solutions are offered, including those that I've introduced to you on previous occasions. For example, EE architecture. In EE architecture, important role is played by central computer, and a solution that can be instantaneously used will be offered. And further enhancement in terms of integration will be pursued to offer turnkey system. For example, all of the electronics combined can be offered as e-axle or sensor fusion used in ADAS, including radar and camera. All of that will be fused at a system level as a solution. We will be increasing the level of integration. So for our customers, solutions can be used in plug-and-play fashion. We are in the process of evolution in terms of further integration of our devices. As regards automotive software and tool sets, I am showing a rather complex matrix. Vertical axis tool is somewhat of a different nature, but a more primitive driver to middleware framework to what is key to differentiation for customers' application are shown on a horizontal axis. Various applications are lined up. Here, for differentiation by our customers, what will be at the center are those that are developed by our customers, but in areas other than those, we can offer solutions or through collaboration with the third parties, we would like to offer even more PS. We have been enhancing our lineup. For example, virtual platform and semiconductor device. Our device is completely simulated in computer in FastSim, and this is still evolving, and changes are taking place every day in AI. AI-related tools are also offered, and how what should we do so that the results of our learning of AI can be transferred to inference, and that inference results should be reflected as the best performance in our computers, and how best to compile for that result. And those learnings are reflected in the tools that we offer. Every day, there are changes in terms of where we are focusing on, but the point is, for all of the areas where we have our offerings, we will be enhancing our offerings, and at the same time, our devices themselves will be made easier to use for our customers. Devices should be having tools that will assist digitalization. We will be enhancing such devices. Now, as for synergy with a dialogue, Mr. Shinkai will discuss this in more detail, but cost synergy is progressing on and is on track. As for top line synergy, this is still premature, but winning combos are expected to drive top line, and 56 were launched last year. Right bottom is not limited to dialogue, but including synergy. Winning combo designs are being offered in increasing numbers year by year. As for our maximization of shareholder value growth, the leverage shareholder return, these are exactly the same as what were presented before. OPEX was shown as an emphasis point, and that remains unchanged, as Mr. Shinkai will explain later. But in the next few years, we would like to be more bold in CapEx, especially in capacity area. Short-term demand surge decline, irrespective of increase or decrease of demand short-term, we would like to increase our capacity for long-term And for that purpose, we would like to make sure we have sufficient capex. These are still under consideration and there are not definitive plans yet. But once decisions are made, we would like to inform you of those. It doesn't mean that we will change our fab light strategy, but we will be making sure that there will be adequate capex. Having said so, last year and this year, we are expecting continuation of strong performance. And initially, at the time of the acquisition of Dialog, a net debt to EBITDA of less than 1 was set as a target. And 1 year ahead of plan, we expect to achieve this. Therefore, regarding deleverage, we believe that we are able to achieve this ahead of plan, given that more so than ever, first and foremost, we would like to positively consider buyback. I would like to communicate this to you once again. I would like to summarize. On the left side, 3 items are shown, and these are same as before. As for well-positioned portfolio, with the acquisition of Celeno last year, at the end of last year, we are able to enhance our portfolio. Furthermore, in automotive, this is more pronounced, but applications likewise, but in terms of customer segments, high growth, faster growth are expected. And a segment is growing into such a segment, and we will be providing more support in the high growth segment. We would like to persist on delivering results, emphasize delivering results. We were able to enjoy favorable environment thus far, but environment may not continue to be favorable. Eventually, market may soften, and we would like to solidify our position. In anticipation of change in environment, we will be customer-centric, but not only for our customers, we would like to make our lives easier. Thank you very much. With that, I would like to conclude. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Now we would like to go to the Q&A session, but before starting the Q&A, we would like to explain how you raise your questions. If you have any questions, please press the raise hand button on the screen. We will call out your name and your company name. Then you are allowed to start your question. So please control and unmute yourself and begin your question. In the interest of time, we would like to limit the number of questions to 1 question per 1 questioner. Now, we would like to start the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. All right, so BofA Securities, Hirakawa-san, please unmute yourself and begin your question. BofA, my name is Hirakawa. Thank you very much for appointing me. I'm sorry to ask this, but because of the geopolitical risk in view of the current environment in Russia and Ukraine, Shibata-san, compared to your prospects, what kind of impact has this caused on your business? And what is the main scenario and sub-scenario that you're currently contemplating? To the extent that you can share with us, that would be appreciated. Well, the situation is changing every day, so it's very difficult to make a comment here in that regard. But at this moment, if there are any changes from the initial outlook at the year, actually, I would say there's no major changes so far. The change itself has been seen in the business, the impact on the business itself, that's one thing. And also, as I said at the outset, very important and excellent R&D people. We have R&D base there, so that will have an impact on the R&D activities. That's something that we foresee. And also, when it comes to business, this relates mostly to supply. Raw materials, supply impact is something that we are currently forecasting. So these are the 3 possible impacts, and I won't rule out any possibility that we will be free and immune from any impact. But as of this point, the R&D and supply-related impacts, if the situation does not aggravate and this does not get prolonged, this is actually my expectation partly, but I think I would say that to some extent, these things are under control. The impact on our sales revenues, I hope that this will not cast a significant impact, but I think we are still calculating and confirming the impact. Russia and Ukraine, if the situation, if that has a repercussions on the customer's production site, well, that will have an impact. So we have to be carefully observing the situation. In terms of sales, development, procurement, for those aspects, among all those, the sales risks, I think, is the highest, and we have not been able to estimate completely yet. But as of this point, we have not seen any significant impact as of yet. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Mr. Sugiura from Daiwa Securities, please unmute and start. This is Sugiura from Daiwa Securities. Thank you for taking my question. Regarding shareholder return, what are your current views regarding share buyback? I believe the comment that you made earlier was unchanged from before. Are there any bottlenecks for share buybacks? Or is it simply a matter of timing, and as soon as you have a better feeling for year-end results, will you make decision? To the extent that you're able to, please respond. Thank you for your question. In the past, we had more leeway in terms of timeline, but I was saying that we would like to implement this sooner. This time, as I mentioned earlier, based on the results from last year and forecast for this year, I am saying we would like to implement sooner, but there are no bottlenecks. Having said so, we have to also make sure that we deleverage, to be honest. But as of today, the leverage target is certain to be achieved 1 year ahead of plan. I have announced that earlier. So more so than before, in terms of timeline, we would like to consider a buyback at an earlier timing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then the next question will be from Asahi Shimbun, Suzuki-san. Please ask your question after unmuting yourself. Suzuki from Asahi Shimbun newspaper. Can you hear me? Thank you very much for the presentation. I have a question relating to TSMC Kumamoto plant. In this regard, what do you think about the estimate on of the impact on your business with TSMC's Kumamoto plant opening? Well, for us, this is a big positive for us. Because simply, all the necessary capacity that we require will just simply increase. We talked about designing targets earlier in my presentation, especially when it comes to automotive, 28 nano microcomputer designing. We are planning to significantly increase in our current business plan. So the Kumamoto fab, the major products there is the 28 nano node product that will be produced there. That's already decided. So this is going to be a major tailwind for us. In addition to that, naturally, of course, region-wise, the procurement sourcing basis will be diversified. So this has a geopolitical impact, as well as if you think about the natural disaster kind of impact, this will only be a positive development for us. So the Kumamoto fab is a very welcome development for us. And also, so we hugely welcome their decision. Thank you. Sorry for the follow-up question, but the reason why you did not invest in that plant, can you? No comment for that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Yamamoto-san from Mizuho Securities. Please unmute and please start your question. I'm Yamamoto from Mizuho Securities. Thank you for taking my question. Towards the end of your presentation, you discussed CapEx. And you've commented that you are not able to discuss in specific terms, but pre-processing, post-processing of semiconductors, are those the types of capex that you have in mind? Or in automotive winning combos, you said that you would like to increase the degree of integrations in areas other than before. Is Renesas planning to make capex? Could you comment on that? Thank you for your question. What I mentioned is about capex of the capabilities of semiconductor manufacturing itself. In the past, on a smaller scale may not be the right phrase, but in incremental way for pre-processing and post-processing to increase capacity, we have been investing. As we discussed in our earnings release session, we said at that time that we will be increasing capex. But what I mentioned today is over medium to long term to increase sizable capex. Those are under considerations. That is all. Thank you. Thank you. A follow-up question. So for both a pre-process and post-process, over medium to long term, you will have new locations. In terms of new location, we are not currently thinking of building a new plant, but including foundries with our partners, how we engage with them. Perhaps there may be a way to engage more deeply than before, or in the facilities that we already have, maybe we can take a look at them from different angle and work on them. And so more broadly, I'm thinking of possible capex, but greenfield large investment is not much considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sure we are receiving so many questions, but we have to move on to the next session.